Friends shout into a canyon, and the canyon answers you. Instantly, faithfully, every time. Now think about that for a second. There is nothing in a canyon, and that is exactly why it can answer. Last chapter, I promised you an astonishing image, an empty valley in which something lives that never dies. Today, we finally walk into it. But first, the question we've all been carrying. We asked, when you are saying nothing and thinking nothing, are you still there? The one who is still there, who is that? Amy, you had it for a whole week. How is your inner weather?
Foggy, Leo. Genuinely foggy. For 6 of the 7 days. Because here's what I did wrong. Every time the question came up, I tried to think my way to the answer. I'd sit there going, okay, who is still there? Is it my personality? My memory? My soul? And the fog would just get thicker, because thinking about the question is not exactly saying nothing and thinking nothing. The crack of light came Sunday morning. I was waiting for the kettle, half asleep, phone still in the bedroom. And for a moment there was just nothing. No commentary, no plans. And then it hit me. The nothing was not empty. Something was completely awake in it, hearing the kettle start to rumble, present, undeniably there. And it didn't need one single word to be there. I couldn't tell you what it is, but for the first time, the question felt less like a riddle and more like an address.
The nothing was not empty. Amy, hold on to that sentence because this entire chapter is inside it. My weather, overcast, with one lake clearing. I kept up the 60 seconds from last chapter's homework, and I'll confess the honest part first. By midweek, it had gone mechanical. I stood there each morning like a man brushing his teeth. Nothing arrived, I was just waiting for the timer. The clearing came Thursday evening after a long and difficult phone call. I sat down for my minute, completely drained. And in that minute, I noticed something strange. There was a tiredness, heavy as a wet coat, and there was a knowing of the tiredness. And the knowing wasn't tired, not even slightly. The coat was soaked. The one seeing the coat was dry. I sat there far past the 60 seconds, just checking again and again, and it held.
The coat was soaked. The one seeing it was dry. So we both brushed against the same thing this week and couldn't name it.
And this week, Lao Tzu names it. Friends, Chapter 5 ended by handing us a compass. Countless words, better to hold your middle. But it never told us what the middle is, or why anything should live there. Chapter 6 is the answer. It is the shortest chapter we have met so far. 25 characters, 5 short lines. And in it, Lao Tzu does 3 things. He tells us what never dies, he tells us where it lives, and he tells us why the one who finds it never runs dry again. Today, the first 2 lines. Next week, the door itself. Hello and welcome back, friends, to The Road to Awakening. I'm Leo, and this is the first of 2 episodes on Chapter 6 of the Tao Te Ching. As always at the head of a chapter, let's hear the whole of it first. Amy, would you read it for us?
Gladly. The whole chapter. 5 lines. Spirit of the valley is immortal. I call it the mystic female. The gate of the mystic female, I call it the root of the universe. Subtle and continuous, as if it exists. Use of it without exertion.
Thank you, Amy. Before we open the first line, one remarkable piece of history. There is an ancient record, the Book of Lao Tzu, that quotes these very words and introduces them like this. The Book of the Yellow Emperor says, "Spirit of the valley is immortal. I call it the mystic female." Now, why would an old text attribute the line to a book older still? Because even in Lao Tzu's own era, this saying was already ancient, a cultivation formula handed down from before anyone could remember, entrusted from one keeper to the next. Which means, when we read this line today, we are not reading one philosopher's clever idea. We are holding something that has been passed hand to hand, across a distance we can't measure, to anyone willing to turn around and look for it. That is the weight of what Amy just read in 10 seconds.
No pressure on my reading voice then. But Leo, let me be honest on everyone's behalf. Spirit of the Valley. To most ears, that sounds like folklore, like a nature spirit in a fairy tale, something living behind a waterfall. What is Lao Tzu actually pointing at?
Then let's not start with the term at all. Let's start in the canyon. You stand at the rim and shout your own name, and the canyon gives it straight back. No delay, no editing, no mood. Shout kindness, it returns kindness. Shout anger, it returns anger, and holds on to neither. A deep well does the same. A long, empty tunnel does the same. Now, what is doing the answering? Nothing is in there. That's the point. The emptiness itself is the answering. If the canyon were full, there would be no echo. Its emptiness is not a lack of something. It is precisely its power to respond. That is the valley in this line. Not a place between two mountains, but the open, hollow readiness that can meet whatever arrives.
So if I hired a truck and filled the canyon with concrete, no more echo. The fuller it gets, the deafer it gets.
The fuller, the deafer, and now turn that sentence around and point it at us. Friends, may I ask, when did your mind last have an echo? Here is an ordinary evening. You're on a call, answering an email at the same time. Someone you love asks how your day was. The words arrive, you hear them perfectly, but nothing lands. The reply comes out flat enough that they stop asking. That wasn't coldness. There simply wasn't a square inch of room left in the valley. It was full of the meeting you've replayed twice, the message you haven't answered, tomorrow's list rehearsing itself. A full mind doesn't respond to life. It can only reflex at life.
That is uncomfortably precise, Leo. I have caught myself saying, "Wow, that's great," to a friend's good news with the exact warmth of a parking meter. And she noticed. Of course she noticed. There was no echo in it.
And notice the difference between the two things that can come back from us. A reflex is a ball bouncing off a wall, instant, hard, and shaped entirely by what was thrown. An echo is different. It required space. So here is the first practice of this chapter, and it costs 1 second. The next time something irritating flies at you, a remark, a tone, a message, before you answer, let it land for 1 second. Just one. Don't agree with it, don't fight it. Let it touch the ground. In that 1 second, you have dug a small valley in a full mind. And you may notice what every canyon knows. What is received first and answered second comes back cleaner than what is swatted back on reflex.
I love that it's 1 second. Even I can't claim I'm too busy for 1 second. But Leo, here's my problem. The valley doesn't stay dug. I clear a little space and thoughts pour right back in, like water finding a hole. Am I supposed to fight them off?
No. And this is the most important boundary in tonight's episode, so let's draw it carefully. A thought is not an enemy. And more than that, a thought is not you. This is where most of us have lived our whole lives mistaken. A thought arises, and we instantly sign our name to it. We become it, and off it runs with us on its back. But a thought is just an activity of the valley, the way an echo is an activity of the canyon. The canyon doesn't fight its echoes and doesn't chase them. So the practice has 4 small steps, friends, and they fit into any moment of any day. 1. See the thought. Ah, a thought is running. 2. Know it clearly, without blur. One clean moment of seeing, and its grip already breaks. 3. Don't respond to it. Don't cling to it. Don't feed it. Don't fight it. Don't board it. 4. Let it flow past, the way sound leaves a valley. And when the thoughts have all flowed through and none of them has been grabbed, what remains standing there, quiet and awake, is what this line calls the spirit of the valley.
Step 3 is where I fall down, though. Don't respond, don't cling. Leo, my clinging does not take orders. I can tell myself, let it go, 10 times while gripping it tighter with both hands.
Because let go was never something the gripping mind can do on command. So please don't turn step 3 into one more thing to strain at. There is a doorway into it, and it's not force, it's watching. In daily life, keep noticing one simple truth about everything that crosses your day. It was assembled out of conditions. It gathered, and it will scatter. The meeting that upset you, assembled, then gone. The praise that lifted you, assembled, then gone. The mood you woke with this morning, where is it now? Nothing that arrives stays. Nothing that stays was ever permanent. And once you have seen this enough times, not believed it, seen it, something relaxes on its own. You stop clinging to thoughts for the same reason you don't grab at smoke. You have simply seen what they're made of. The thought, too, is impermanent. It arose, it will dissolve. You don't have to evict it. You only have to not sign the lease.
Don't sign the lease. So the letting go isn't an action I perform. It's what's left over once I've really seen that the thing is already leaving.
That's the whole of it. And let me pause us right here for one breath. What we just walked through, those 4 small steps, is the working heart of this entire show. If tonight is the first time watch the thought instead of boarding it has ever sounded doable to you, there is one small thing you can do for us. Subscribe to our channel, Voice of Heavenly Tao, and share the road to awakening with one friend who is running on empty, someone whose valley has been full for far too long. Hand them this half hour of space. All right, because now the strangest word in the line is waiting for us. Spirit of the valley is immortal. Friends, I want to close one door quickly because the western shelf of Taoism has an old ghost on it. Elixirs, mountain hermits, the search for eternal life. Let me say it plainly. This line is not about living a long time. It is not about your body lasting or your soul outlasting. Watch the canyon again. Does the canyon's emptiness get old? The echoes come and go by the thousand. Does the space they echo in wear out? You cannot age an emptiness. You cannot wound it, stain it, or use it up. Why? Because it was never assembled in the first place, and only what was assembled can come apart. Immortal here doesn't mean it will not die. It means it was never born, and that is a completely different address than long life. 13 centuries after Lao Tzu, a young man in China heard one line of scripture and woke all the way up. Hui-neng, who became the 6th patriarch of Zen. And what I want you to hear is the first thing that came out of him in that moment. Not a doctrine, an astonishment. Who could have expected? This self-nature is originally unborn and undying. Who could have expected? He didn't say, "At last I have built it," or "After long labor I achieved it." You only say who could have expected about something that was already there, complete, untouched, sitting quietly under a lifetime of noise that you had simply never turned around to meet. His astonishment is this line of Lao Tzu, answered across the centuries. The spirit of the valley was never made, so it cannot be unmade.
So both of them are saying, don't build it, turn around and find what was never missing. Okay, Leo. But that's their realization. How does an ordinary person even begin to check this against her own life?
With an experiment anyone can run tonight, it takes one memory and one honest look. Friends, walk back through your own life with me, slowly. Your face has changed. Compare any photograph. Your voice has changed. The dreams you had at 7, at 17, at 30, changed. Most of them traded away. The people around you have changed. Some are gone. Your opinions, be honest, have reversed themselves more than once. Every mood you have ever had arrived, stayed a while, and left. Everything on the inventory has been replaced at least once. And yet, through every one of those scenes, the child's summer, the failed exam, the hospital corridor, this very evening, something was present, doing one simple thing, knowing it. Knowing the summer, knowing the fear, knowing this sentence right now. Every item changed. Has the knowing of them ever changed? Take 3 seconds with that. Don't answer quickly.
Leo, while you were saying that, a moment from last month came back to me. May I? It connects, I promise. I was at my parents' place, and my mother pulled out the old photo albums. And you know how that goes. Everyone laughing at the haircuts. There's a photo of me at 7, gap-toothed, holding a plastic bucket. And I had the strangest experience. I looked at that child's eyes, and I suddenly couldn't find the boundary. The one looking out of those eyes in that garden, and the one looking down at the photo 40-something albums later. I could not honestly say they were two different lookings. Everything else in the picture was gone. The garden, the bucket, the gap teeth. But the looking. I went very quiet at the dinner table, and I couldn't explain why.
Amy, thank you. That is this line, lived. Notice one detail in your story. The camera is never in the picture. Every photo shows another changed version of you, and the one constant, the looking itself, never once appears in the album because it is what every page was seen by. That is why Lao Tzu gives it the valley's name. Like the canyon, it never shows up as one of the things inside it, and like the canyon, it has answered every single scene. It read every page of that album with you, friends. It is reading this one now. Spirit of the Valley is immortal is not a claim about the cosmos first. It is an introduction to the one in you that has never been absent and never been born, and therefore cannot die. And with that introduction made, we can finally face the second line, the strange one.
Strange is the word, Leo. I call it the mystic female. Every time I've seen this chapter quoted in English, this is the phrase people trip on. It sounds, I don't know, like it's about to become either a fertility cult or a gender debate. Neither feels like Lao Tzu.
So let's clear that in one sentence, plainly. This is not about men and women. Female here names two capacities, not a gender. The capacity to receive and the capacity to give rise. Think mother as in Mother Nature. The female of this line is maternity itself, that which can hold and therefore can bring forth. Lao Tzu has just told us the valley spirit was never born and cannot die. Now he adds the astonishing second half, and it is a mother. The emptiness is not barren. It is the most fertile thing there is. Every canyon proves half of this. Emptiness can answer. The mystic female is the full claim. Emptiness can birth.
And mystic? That word does a lot of atmospheric work in English. Candles start lighting themselves.
Then let's take the atmosphere out of it. In the original, the word means dark,
Deep dark, like deep water. And notice what we call dark in ordinary life. The sea where it drops beyond sight. We say the water is black, though a glass of it is clear. The night sky. Any matter too deep to see the bottom of, we say, that's deep, that's obscure. Dark, in this grammar, never meant nothing there. It means real, beyond the reach of the eye. So, mystic female, the dark mother, is Lao Tzu being precise. The source of everything is not hidden because it is far away, but because it is too deep to appear as an object in front of you. Zhuangzi put the whole direction of it in one line. The bright and shining is born out of deep darkness. The ordered and formed is born out of the formless. He isn't praising darkness. He is recording the direction of every birth. Everything lit was lit out of what cannot be seen. Everything shaped was shaped out of what has no shape. The dark is upstream of every bright thing. That is why the mother of all of it carries a dark name.
Upstream, all right. But Leo, bring it down to a Tuesday for me. What does it look like to practice being, I can't believe I'm saying this, a mystic female between a morning meeting and a school pickup?
It looks like 1 second of mothering whatever arrives. Watch what we normally do when a sharp remark lands, say, a criticism with a little hook on it. 2 reflexes, both instant. Strike back, or swallow it bitterly and carry it all day. Notice that both are refusals to receive. One slams the door outward, one locks it inward. Now watch a mother receive a crying child. She doesn't argue with the crying, and she doesn't become the crying. She holds it, and in being held, it changes by itself. So the practice. When the remark lands, let it be held for 1 second. Not agreed with, held. You will discover a quiet law. Whatever you can first contain cannot wound you. Whatever you pounce on, you amplify. The one who can receive rules the exchange, gently, the way the valley rules the mountain by lying lower than it.
Wait, that's the same second from the first line. The 1 second landing. The valley's second and the mother's second are the same second.
The same second, deeper name. The valley showed us the second makes space. The mother shows us the second is fertile. Out of that held moment, a response can be born instead of a reflex. And now, friends, the last step tonight, and the most important. Because there is a trap in this beautiful phrase, and it catches almost everyone. Hearing mystic female as a thing, a hidden object, a secret light, something to go find. It is not an object. It is the from where of every object. Try this right now. Your last thought, the one you just had about dinner or about this sentence. Where did it come from? Trace it back. You cannot. It surfaced from a place that had no content yet, and every thought you have ever had surfaced from that same contentless place, the way every spring surfaces from underground. That place, nameless, dark, endlessly giving birth. You are not far from it. You have never in your life been outside it. We don't find the mother. We notice we have never left her womb. A Western philosopher once drew this exact line through a single word. Spinoza split nature in two. Nature already born, the trees, the stars, every finished thing on the shelf of the world. And nature busy being born, the birthing activity itself, which never appears on the shelf as one more item, because it is what the whole shelf pours out of. He drew that line so people would stop looking for the source among the products. And that is our line tonight, in 17th century clothing. Everything you can point to is already born. The mystic female is the being born that never shows her face among her children, and was never absent from a single one of them.
We keep looking for her among the things she gave birth to. That's why every search comes back empty-handed. The searching itself was one more of her children.
And she was never far, friends. That is the quiet scandal of this whole chapter. The undying valley, the dark mother. Lao Tzu is not describing scenery at the edge of the cosmos. Next week, he says it outright. There is a gate, and the gate is the root of everything. And the root is closer to you than tonight's dinner. But even now, before any of that, the one who has been receiving these words all evening, holding each sentence for a second, knowing every thought as it rose and letting it pass, that has been in the room the whole time. Tonight was never an introduction to an idea. It was an introduction to the one reading the album. So, the question to carry this week. It grew straight out of tonight's experiment, and it is simple enough to fit on a bus ride and deep enough to last 7 days. Here it is. What is one thing about you that has not changed even once since you were a child? Don't answer it with a word. Words will hand you a candidate, and every candidate will turn out to have changed. Answer it by elimination. Cross things off one by one all week, and pay close attention to the moment the list gets suspiciously short, and to the one doing the crossing off.
I already know my week. Auditioning candidates and firing them one at a time. And the strangest part is, I can feel that even the auditioning is being watched. We'll all be carrying this one together, friends.
If this episode opened even 1 second of Valley in a full week, please give it a like. Subscribe to our channel, Voice of Heavenly Tao, and pass it along to someone whose echo you miss. Your support is what keeps the two of us walking. Having learned this far, if there is any error or any clumsiness in how I've shared it, I humbly ask the wise ones and all the awakened ones before us for their compassion and their correction. Thank you, friends. We'll meet again next time.
Gratitude for the grace of heaven and virtue of teachers. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.